Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next hour, in news just coming in, Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a meeting to review the progress in the tourism sector. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairing a review meeting on India's progress made in the tourism sector. We see here Minister of Tourism Gajendra Singh Shekhawat briefing the Prime Minister on the progress made in India's tourism industry. This is a fresh development coming at the top of this hour. So India's tourism industry is a major economic driver. It generates high quality jobs, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi here chairing a review meeting on the progress made in India's tourism sector. You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Tanvi Taneja. Here are the headlines of this hour. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri to brief MP delegations before their diplomatic outreach on India's stance against cross-border terrorism. 59 leaders to visit 33 countries in the coming days. Beating the retreat ceremony to resume at the Attari-Wagah border today after a 12-day suspension amid India-Pakistan tensions. Public can attend the ceremony from Wednesday. Kremlin says Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump did not discuss a timeline for a ceasefire in Ukraine during their 2-hour phone call on Monday. World Health Organization members vote emphatically in favor of a potentially groundbreaking global pandemic agreement. And India's Met Department issues alert for extremely heavy rainfall in south and northeastern India. Karnataka continues to be on alert. Onset of monsoon over Kerala expected during the next 4-5 days. India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri will brief 7 MP delegations on Tuesday that are set to visit 33 countries to brief the global leaders on India's resolve to deal with terrorism firmly against the backdrop of Operation Sindoor. The briefings are scheduled in 2 phases, with the first one occurring today and the second is scheduled for 23rd of May. India has initiated a diplomatic effort to strengthen its global position following the Pahalgam terror attack that killed 26 civilians. This campaign aims to counter Pakistan's attempts to overshadow terrorism while prioritizing Kashmir in international discussions. The Parliamentary Standing Committee on External Affairs had a comprehensive meeting on Monday with Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, briefing members on current foreign policy developments regarding India and Pakistan in the wake of Operation Sindoor on May 7th, and subsequent understanding reached between the 2 countries to stop military action and firing. Congress leader Shashi Tharoor, who heads the Standing Committee on External Affairs, said that the members expressed desire to have a resolution expressing solidarity with the Foreign Secretary in the face of the unwarranted attacks or comments on him.
This was a very, very thorough discussion. Many of the MPs had thoughtful questions to ask. There was even a desire to have a resolution expressing solidarity with the Foreign Secretary in the face of the unwarranted attacks upon him. He himself requested there should be no resolution, but it was a unanimous sentiment of the committee that he has performed a good service for the nation and we all stand with him. And that was not a formal resolution, but it was definitely the wish of everyone. I also want to add that the committee has in many ways covered a lot of constructive ground and has left with satisfactory responses to various questions.
India's multi-party outreach to rally global support for its war against terror emanating from Pakistan is aimed at major countries in the West Asian region. 7 political delegations will be touring the world to reach out to the current members of the UNSC, both permanent and non-permanent, and to those who will be at the table next year. Here is the complete schedule of the delegations and the nations they are going to visit. The all-party delegation will project India's national consensus and resolute approach to combat terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. They would carry forth to the world the country's strong message of zero tolerance against terrorism. Members of Parliament from different political parties are part of each delegation as part of its effort to isolate Islamabad internationally. India wants to convey its concerns about Pakistan's support to terror groups and terror infrastructure. The teams will go to 4 out of 5 permanent members of the UNSC, the US, UK, France and Russia. Among the non-permanent members, the all-party delegations will visit countries who are current members of the UNSC. These are Algeria, Guyana, Republic of Korea, Sierra Leone and Slovenia, as well as the countries which will replace them next January. Barring Pakistan, they will visit countries whose terms expire in December next year: Denmark, Greece, Panama and Somalia. The visits will also include nations which will be assuming membership of the UNSC in the near future: Latvia, Democratic Republic of Congo, Bahrain, Liberia and Colombia will be part of the UNSC for a 2-year period from January 1st, 2026 till December 31st, 2027. The teams will also visit key Muslim-majority countries in West Asia and Southeast Asia: Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Egypt, Kuwait, Indonesia and Malaysia. DD India's Akshay Dongre joins us for more on this story. So, Akshay, India's Foreign Secretary will be briefing these MP delegations. What are the MPs likely to be appraised of during the briefings?
Well, there has been a lot of information about the Operation Sindoor and the Pahalgam attack, which led to this military action by the Indian armed forces that have to be conveyed to the world. India has not acted in an aggressive manner. India has not acted in an escalatory manner. This was a proportionate retaliatory strike that India had conducted against terror. Same terrorism, same factories of terrorism that not only impact or attack India but attack countries around the world, and that is something that has to be apprised by the member of parliaments of the country, coming in from all parties, coming in from different regions, coming in from different communities. As far as their outreach is concerned. So what we are going to witness now is the member of parliaments going to these countries, especially the countries that are part of the United Nations Security Council, both permanent and non-permanent ones. Several of the permanent members and several of the non-permanent members will be visited by the Indian parliaments, who will be briefing the governments there as far as what exactly transpired in between India and Pakistan, and how India has been trying to take on this battle that not only benefits India but the rest of the world. Terrorism is impacting all of these countries. Terrorism has been seen as a plague by all of these countries, but when it comes to acting against terrorism, there have been very less takers as far as taking the fight to these terror hubs are concerned. Many of these countries have had very good relations with India, but their relation between the two countries have been significantly enhanced under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and that is something that has to be realized on the ground by these nations as well. That trade and terror cannot go hand in hand. How India is only taking action that is appropriate just to dismember these terror infrastructures that have been active for several decades now. So we are going to see all of these details narratives and sort of the kind of propaganda that Pakistan and ISPR have been trying to do, that has to be dismantled as well. These are some of the key things that will be apprised by the Member of Parliament once they go to these nations.
Okay, thank you, Akshay, for those updates. And we are now joined by Ashok Sajjanhar, former senior Indian diplomat, on the show. Welcome, Ashok ji, to DD India News Hour. So 7 MP delegations are set to visit 33 countries to brief global leaders on India's resolve to firmly deal with terrorism against the backdrop of Operation Sindoor. Why has India felt it important to take the global community along in this matter?
Thank you very much for having me on the show. You see what India has done on 7th of May, and then, this continued till the 10th of May. I think India has demonstrated that what it needs to do to protect its integrity, its sovereignty, and also the welfare of its nationals, its citizens, it will do, irrespective of what the global community thinks. It doesn't need any permission from the global community. However, it feels it necessary to reach out to the global community to address them as to what the major issues are, because Pakistan has been spreading a lot of misinformation. It has been spreading a lot of fake news as far as the issues are concerned, that that this was an unprovoked attack, what happened on the 7th of May, and that India was the one that was resorting to escalation in tension between the two countries. And we have to tell the world that number one, it was not an escalatory attack as far as India is concerned. The escalation, the original escalation, was on the 22nd of April as far as the Pahalgam attack was concerned, in which 26 innocent civilians were mercilessly butchered in Pahalgam. So that was the original escalation, and India was only responding to it, providing justice to those who had suffered at the hands of terrorists, and making sure that the perpetrators of this terrorist crime, that they were made to account for, they were made to pay for what they had done. So I think there is basically some sort of confusion in the world community that, this is something to do with Kashmir, and on the issue of Kashmir, both India and Pakistan have been fighting for the last 30, 40, 50 years. So it is something of that nature. We have to tell our parliamentary delegations have to tell the global community very categorically that this is not about Kashmir. The whole issue of Kashmir was resolved in 2019. This is a fight against terrorism. And if India is fighting this fight, it is not only for itself, but it is for the whole world. And that is why our initial attack on the 7th May was only against terrorist strongholds and hideouts. It was not against civilians of Pakistan. It was not against military establishment of Pakistan. So I think it is very necessary to tell the world that Pakistan is the epicenter of terrorism, and the world needs to apply pressure on Pakistan to stop its support to terrorism. Otherwise, it is going to be very harmful, not only for India, because India can take care of itself, but it's going to be very harmful for the world also.
Okay, what would you say about the composition of the MP delegations, which include members of key opposition parties and former diplomats, and what would likely have guided the selection of the delegation members?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think this is a very excellent question. Number one, by sending an all-out delegation of different political parties to the various countries, India sends out a very clear message that the country is united on this particular aspect. There are two perspectives on this. One is that when the perpetrators, when the terrorists hit out on the 22nd of April, they had thought that they would be able to sow communal discord, that there is going to be communal violence between the Hindus and the Muslims, because the Hindus are going to get very angry that these people have been killed on the basis, 25 of them have been killed on the basis of religion, because they were Hindus, they were not Muslims. So there is going to be that anger, and that will lead to communal disturbances, and that would meet the objectives as far as the Pakistan army is concerned. I think India has behaved remarkably, the Indian people have behaved remarkably well, that not only has there been no communal disturbance, the whole country and the whole of Kashmir has come together to say that, the country, India, should make Pakistan pay for what it has done. Secondly, as far as the parliament is concerned, because parliament represents the people, so when there are all party delegations that are going, that are combined, there are some delegations that are headed by Congress, by DMK, by Shiv Sena, etc., and also by the ruling party, one of the constituents of the ruling party, that is BJP. I think it gives out a very strong message that the country is united on this fight against terrorism, and the country will do everything that is required. Also, these, all the delegates that have been chosen, they are very articulate, they know the subject. For instance, Shashi Tharoor is the chair of the Parliamentary Foreign Relations Committee. He's had such amazing experience in the United Nations, and also is a 4-term member. He knows the subject and he's able to express it very well. Similarly, there are, whether it is Mr. Baijant Panda or Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad or Manish Tiwari, they are all very well known to have a very keen interest as far as foreign affairs is concerned. And the inclusion of diplomats, senior diplomats in these delegations is basically to do hand-holding and provide briefing. These are all diplomats who have served in those areas where the delegations are going. So they will be able to brief them, tell them about the sensitivities, tell them about what are the areas, what are the issues which they should touch upon, which would be of particular concern and interest as far as those countries are concerned. So I think excellent decision, excellent choice of countries, excellent choice of delegates.
Okay. The central message here, India's zero tolerance against cross-border terrorism. Thank you very much, Ashok Sajanharji, for giving us your insight on the subject. Now, the Border Security Force has announced the resumption of the ceremonial retreat ceremony at 3 locations in Punjab along the Pakistan border starting today. The retreat ceremony at all these 3 joint checkposts at Attari, Hussainiwala and Sadki will resume at 6 p.m. local time today, but it will be open for media persons only. The event will be open for public viewing from May 21st. However, the BSF troops will not shake hands with Pakistani rangers and the gates will not be opened during the beating retreat ceremony. This comes 2 weeks after the daily event was suspended following Operation Sindoor by India in response to the Pahalgam attack. Chief of Army Staff General Upendra Dwivedi visited the historic border town of Longewala in Rajasthan, honouring the bravery of soldiers who defended India against the overwhelming odds. During an interaction with troops from various forces, he praised their courage and operational readiness in Operation Sindoor amid recent tensions in Rajasthan and Gujarat. He reaffirmed the Indian Army's commitment, stating that any future threats would be met with decisive force. You're watching DD India News Hour. Still to come on this show. The EU and the UK hold summit on closer cooperation post-Brexit. So will Brexit be undone? We dissect the story with the help of our partners in DW. President Emmanuel Macron announces a record $22 billion foreign investment during Choose France summit.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium, We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Tanvi Taneja. A new diplomatic push may be gaining ground to end the conflict in Ukraine. US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin held a key phone call on Monday, with both leaders signaling fresh willingness to pursue a ceasefire. Here's what has happened so far in the high-stakes talks.
The phone call between US President Donald Trump and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin lasted for more than 2 hours. Trump touted real progress, declaring that Russia and Ukraine will immediately start negotiations toward a ceasefire, potentially ending a conflict that has now entered its third year.
I think some progress has been made. It's a terrible situation going on over there. 5,000 young people every single week are being killed. So hopefully we did something.
Putin, for his part, thanked Trump and said Moscow is ready to work with Kiev on a memorandum laying out the principles for peace, possibly including a temporary ceasefire, a timeline for talks, and other terms if consensus is reached.
We agreed with the US President that Russia will propose and will be ready to work with the Ukrainian side on a memorandum on a possible future peace agreement.
Shortly thereafter, Trump held a telephonic conversation with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Zelensky stressed the need for an immediate ceasefire and revealed efforts to organize a high-level peace summit with the US, EU, UK, Russia and Ukraine.
During the call, we talked about what is important for Ukraine, the ceasefire. The second topic we talked about is the readiness of the United States to make more serious sanction steps if Russia does not support the ceasefire and doesn't want to end this war. The third thing I asked him is not to make any decisions about Ukraine without us.
Meanwhile, European and US leaders welcomed Pope Leo's offer to host peace talks at the Vatican. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, French President Emmanuel Macron, and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz spoke with Trump in support of renewed negotiations.
I think it would be great to have it at the Vatican. Maybe it would have some extra significance. There's tremendous bitterness, anger, and I think maybe that could help some of that anger. So having it at the Vatican would be, in Rome, would be I think it would be a great idea.
With major players signaling openness to talks, all eyes now turn to whether these early steps can lead to lasting peace. With inputs from Amish Mahajan, Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, Kremlin aide Yuri Ushakov said that Russian President Vladimir Putin and his US counterpart did not discuss a timeline for a ceasefire in Ukraine during their 2-hour phone call on Monday, though US President said that his interest is in reaching these agreements quickly.
No, did not talk about this. Although Trump, of course, emphasizes his interest in reaching one or another agreement as soon as possible. But what the presidents agreed on, our president informed the media outlets very clearly and fully, immediately after the conversation with Trump.
On Monday, Israel's military confirmed that 5 UN trucks carrying supplies, including baby food, were allowed through the Kerem Shalom crossing. Israeli Foreign Ministry Director General Eden Bar-Tal said that aid distribution points inside Gaza should be up and running within days. He added that the Israeli army is working closely with international organizations to resume supply operations immediately in the region. This marks the first delivery since Israel announced a partial easing of its blockade amid mounting global pressure. The UN has also welcomed the move and has urged for more.
An international fund, GHF,
An international fund, Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, will operate based on this principle: direct aid to the population in Gaza, but not to Hamas. Israel supports this plan fully. The fund will distribute the aid in several distribution centers located in safe areas of Gaza. The IDF will not take part in the distribution. The IDF will secure the perimeter. The distribution sites should be operating in a matter of days.
Take part of the distribution.
Britain and the European Union on Monday reached a landmark deal, setting out closer ties on defence and trade, launching a new chapter after UK's acrimonious exit from the bloc 5 years ago. UK and the EU have agreed a deal allowing EU fishermen to access British waters for 12 years in return for easing trade flows, the UK government said on Monday. British fishermen will benefit from the new Food and Agricultural Products Agreement, which slashes costs and red tape to help exports, Downing Street said in a statement. Britain and the European Union agreed a new security and defence pact at a landmark London summit on Monday, the two sides said. The deal will pave the way for Britain's defence industry to participate in a €150 billion defence fund being set up by the bloc, Downing Street said in a statement. It also said that the EU pact will add almost €9 billion to British economy by 2040.
We on this side are following through on what the British public voted for last year and the mission of this government to deliver security and renewal for our country and improve the lives of working people. In uncertain times, a new era for defence, security and trade, we will do that by strengthening our relationships with allies around the world, including, of course, with Europe. So that is what today.
Meanwhile, the leader of Britain's political opposition and the Conservative Party, Kemi Badenoch, said that she was gobsmacked by the new UK-EU Defence and Trade Agreement. It was also denounced by Brexit campaigner and Reform Party leader Nigel Farage, who called the deal a betrayal.
I am gobsmacked that Keir Starmer has signed this deal. This is a sellout, certainly on fishing. I cannot believe that instead of getting better terms on fishing, we've got worse terms. I was worried that he was going to come back with 3 years for the next negotiation. It's 12 years. It's going to be over a decade that we are giving away our fishing rights. That sells out so many coastal communities in the UK. Same thing with the emissions trading scheme, accepting EU carbon pricing. That's going to give us higher energy bills. Dynamic alignment means that we are rule takers again. I mean, we spent 10 years on this, and he's taken us back to square one.
So it's been almost 9 years since Brits somewhat surprisingly voted to leave the European Union. Now the two former partners are inching closer again, haggling over a new trade agreement. Lars Holte is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin now on the story. Lars, before we jump into details, remind our viewers what happened during those Brexit years.
Thanks for having me, and gladly, yeah, here's the gist of it. Let's look at why many Brits wanted out of the EU single market in the first place. It was for some questions of sovereignty of the state, with much anger over rules and regulations out of Brussels playing into the country's dealings, something that has angered other EU members too over the years, including here in Germany, where the efficiency of the EU has often been questioned, and burdensome regulations as well. Anyway, for Brits, it was one reason to leave. The other reason was immigration, with many there feeling that too many immigrants moved to the UK to live and work there. And maybe the biggest reason for Brits to move away from the European Union was that their economy was weak. They felt they didn't benefit from EU membership, that it was too costly. At the time, the Leave campaign, as it was called, they famously promised Brits to use the savings from leaving the EU to prop up the country's healthcare system, which then in the end never happened. Anyway, in June of 2016, Brits voted to leave the Union, to the shock of many actually in Europe and in Britain, by the way, because the vote was extremely close at 51% voting to leave. And many who had wanted to stay later actually said that they hadn't even participated in the referendum, as they had been sure it would be defeated anyway.
So Lars, there are lots of reasons for Brits to leave the EU. Why are they coming back to the table now?
Well, they're not coming back entirely, of course. I can't even imagine how long and difficult a process that would be. But they did now move on a trade agreement, which they really wanted because Brexit hasn't helped the country's economy at all. No surprise there, as many empty promises had been made. And it was, in fact, a populist campaign that more or less tricked people into voting for Brexit. Since the UK left, exports from Britain to the EU have dropped 27%. Imports have dropped over 30%. Within the EU, all these other member countries, they are importing on average 1,600 fewer products from Britain than before Brexit. And all in all, Brexit cost the UK economy 4% in growth, according to analysts here, while prices are up for most goods as well. Now, the UK and the EU will once again work together in defense, energy, and of course, trade, with the latter part being tricky, especially fisheries had protested against the EU competition, fearing for their fishing grounds. Now EU fishers can fish again in UK waters, but the British industry will benefit from some subsidies as well as easier access to other agricultural and food exports, including meat and dairy.
Okay, thank you very much, Lars, for all those updates. Lars Holter joining us from DW Berlin. Moving on now. French President Emmanuel Macron hailed a record $22 billion in foreign investment during the Choose France conference at the Palace of Versailles on Monday. This surpasses last year's 15 billion euros and solidifies France's position as Europe's top destination for foreign direct investment, according to an EY ranking. Around 50 new projects across sectors like fintech, cruise ships and data centers were revealed. Macron credited his reforms since 2017 for simplifying bureaucracy and boosting France's global appeal.
20 billion were invested, new investments were announced, and 20 billion of AI investment as a follow-up of the summit in February. So it's a very great addition, and I want clearly to thank all those who decided to invest in our country. This is a result of a collective work during the past 8 years.
You're watching DD India News. Are still to come on the show. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar thanks the Netherlands for their strong condemnation of the Pahalgam terror attack and support for India's zero tolerance against terrorism. India and the US discuss expediting conclusion of the first phase of the trade pact as Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal holds talks with US Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Thanks for staying with us on DD India News Hour. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Here are the top stories of this hour. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri to brief MP delegations before their diplomatic outreach on India's stance against cross-border terrorism. 59 leaders to visit 33 countries in the coming days. Kremlin says Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump did not discuss a timeline for ceasefire in Ukraine during the 2-hour phone call on Monday. World Health Organization members vote emphatically in favor of a potentially groundbreaking global pandemic agreement. And India's Met Department issues alert for extremely heavy rainfall in south and northeastern India. Karnataka continues to be on alert. Onset of monsoon over Kerala expected during the next 4 to 5 days. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, who is currently on an official visit to the Netherlands, met with the newly appointed Prime Minister of the Netherlands, Dick Schoof, in The Hague. Following the meeting, Dr. Jaishankar shared a post on X and said, "Delighted to call on Prime Minister Dick today in The Hague," conveyed the warm greetings of Prime Minister Modi and thanked him for Netherlands' firm and resolute stance against terrorism. Appreciate his commitment to taking the India-Netherlands partnership to newer heights, assured that our teams will work hard to achieve these goals. Earlier, External Affairs Minister Jaishankar interacted with representatives of the Indian community in the Netherlands. While interacting with Indian diaspora, Dr. Jaishankar highlighted the contribution of the community in building a stronger relationship between India and the Netherlands. On the first leg of his visit to the 3 European nations, Dr. Jaishankar met Defence Minister Ruben Brekelmans in The Hague. During the meet, both the leaders exchanged views on respective security perspectives and challenges. They also spoke about the benefits of forging a bilateral defence partnership. While meeting his Netherlands counterpart Casper Veldkamp, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar appreciated Netherlands' strong condemnation of the Pahalgam attack and the support for zero tolerance against terrorism. Both the leaders had wide-ranging discussions on deepening their bilateral partnership and engagement with the EU. They also exchanged views on the global situation in an era of multipolarity. Later on, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will also pay an official visit to Germany and Denmark. India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal held talks with US Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick to expedite the first tranche of the India-US bilateral trade agreement. An Indian delegation led by Piyush Goyal is in the United States for talks over the trade deal. India and the United States are intensifying discussions to finalize a scaled-down version of their bilateral trade agreement. On April 29th, the Commerce Ministry highlighted that both nations are focusing on securing early mutual gains as they move closer to concluding the agreement. Representatives of India's Department of Commerce and the Office of the US Trade Representative met in Washington last month as part of the ongoing discussions on the India-US bilateral trade agreement. The Competition Commission of India is commemorating 16 years since its inception, reaffirming its dedication to promoting fair and competitive market practices in the country. The event brings together key stakeholders from the industry. Addressing the event, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman highlighted the government's vision for the CCI's future role.
The ability of the Commission to strike a balance between the regulatory vigilance and a pro-growth mindset will be integral to building a resilient, equitable and innovation-driven economic framework in India as it aspires to become Vikasit Bharat.
Minister Sitharaman praised the Competition Commission of India for fostering innovation, safeguarding consumer interests and playing a significant role in driving India's economic growth.
As India integrates further with the global value chains and digital ecosystems, maintaining open and contestable markets will be crucial to our competitiveness. The Competition Commission of India, through its unique mandate and cross-sectoral role, will be a key enabler in this journey, whether it is facilitating market access for MSMEs, addressing barriers that impede fair competition, promoting digital inclusion, or ensuring that the consumers benefit from better choices, lower prices and improved quality. Congratulations to the...
Moving on to weather updates now. India's Weather Department on Tuesday said heavy to very heavy rainfall is expected over the western coastal states, including Karnataka, Goa and Kerala and the adjoining peninsular region till May 25th, with extremely heavy rainfall expected today over Karnataka and tomorrow. India's Weather Department issued a red alert for Karnataka as more rain is predicted over the next 5 days in the state. A cyclonic circulation is persisting over the central west Bay of Bengal and another system is expected to form near the Karnataka coast by May 21st. This system may develop into a low pressure area by May 22nd, likely intensifying rainfall across Tamil Nadu. The IMD has issued a warning for heavy to very heavy rainfall across Tamil Nadu over the next 5 days due to multiple weather systems. Since the onset of the pre-monsoon season, Tamil Nadu has received 90% more rainfall than usual. with Chennai recording 83% excess rain. An orange alert has been issued for several districts in Kerala, warning of heavy rainfall and the possibility of flooding. The northern parts of Kerala are expected to experience heavy rainfall till May 23rd, while the south and central parts will receive moderate rainfall. The IMD declared the monsoon's arrival in the Andaman Islands on May 13th, marking an advance of 10 days compared to the usual schedule. Due to frequent below normal maximum temperatures, dust storms and thunderstorms, the month of May has seen unusual weather in India. However, the temperature may not affect the onset of the southwest monsoon this year. Yellow alert has been issued for rain in 5 hilly districts of Uttarakhand, providing relief from the heat. However, dry weather in the plains may lead to rising temperatures. Authorities have advised residents, especially in hilly areas, to stay vigilant amid possible thunderstorms and strong winds. With monsoon rains expected to hit Uttarakhand in the coming month, relief from scorching heat is anticipated, bringing a welcome shift to the region's weather dynamics. Though India's national capital is reeling under intense heat as the maximum temperature might reach 46 degrees Celsius, minimum temperature in Delhi today is likely to hover around 31 degrees Celsius. Weather department has also predicted heavy to very heavy rainfall along with thunderstorms and lightning over northeastern states and sub-Himalayan West Bengal and Sikkim till May 23rd. The IMD said an upper air cyclonic circulation lies over central Assam in lower tropospheric levels. Let's connect with our correspondents for more on the weather updates. Subina Roy joins us from Dibrugarh, Assam. Ritesh Ranjan joins us from Chennai. Ritesh, to you first. Since the onset of the pre-monsoon season, Tamil Nadu has received 90% more rainfall than usual, with Chennai recording 83% excess rain. How do you see this trend?
See, this trend always gives a concern about flooding first. Flooding and connectivity in the on roads, because like every year we have seen, whenever it rains, Chennai, and especially when we're talking about capital of Tamil Nadu, Chennai is stuck. You know, a city track is stuck, and other areas where the 7 districts which has been alerted for high rain. There, all the areas, landslides, that is all expected there. So it's a very concerning factor. Another thing is, it comes to agriculture. There are 500 acres land of paddy, which is flooded, and it is worrying the farmers there. So it's a concern of farmers, also the state government, now how to cope up with this kind of condition. And another major factor is the pre-monsoon rain. It will actually recharge the groundwater. Then how easily we catch it, easily we are preserving it. That is more important. And how state government and other authorities are preparing themselves.
Okay. Subina, coming to you now. Assam's Guwahati is reeling under relentless rainfall. Tell us, how is the weather in Dibrugarh, and overall how Assamites are coping with the rainfall?
Right, Santi, the monsoon is here in the northeast, and in fact it's an orange alert for Assam and Meghalaya for today and tomorrow. And due to this off and on rains, moderate rains, the city areas are waterlogged, as you had said that in Guwahati, the city areas are waterlogged. So a lot of processes required, state level coordination is required. Recently, the state government took up flood level preparedness, state level preparedness, and desiltation works are going on in Guwahati and other city areas, so that water body is not there. And this time, the Assam government has taken strong measures, especially in city areas, so that these roads are not waterlogged. The things are cleared on a timely basis, and a desiltation process works often occur. And when we talk about the overall Assam region, Tanvi, the Assam is one such region where we have the sub-Himalayas on the on its north, and that is why, due to the orographic shift, rain occurs, and it's a perennial phenomenon here in Assam. And that's why the daily life is affected. Plus, there are many low-lying areas in Assam, and also there are many river islands here. So people, when the rivers get flooded, people who are in these underlying areas have to be evacuated, brought to safer places, rescue camps. At this time, the NDRF has employed around 300 personals. The UNICEF has employed 100 personals for, relief and rescue measures.
Okay, thank you, Subina, and thank you, Ritesh, for giving us the weather updates from your regions. Now, members of the World Health Organization, WHO, formally adopted a landmark agreement on Tuesday on how to prepare for future pandemics following the COVID-19 outbreak. After 3 years of negotiations, the legally binding pact was adopted by the World Health Assembly in Geneva. The pact was welcomed by the member countries. They voted emphatically in favor of the treaty at the 78th World Health Assembly in Geneva. No country voted against, while 11 countries, including Poland, Israel, Italy, Russia, Slovakia and Iran, abstained. It is only the second legally binding agreement to be adopted in WHO's history after the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control of 2003. Let's take a look at the key points of this agreement now. The objective of the WHO Pandemic Agreement is to strengthen pandemic prevention, preparedness and response. The countries must take progressive steps to strengthen their pandemic prevention and surveillance capacities. Subject to resources, countries are called on to develop, reinforce and implement pandemic prevention plans. The text calls for countries to take measures to ensure equitable distribution and global production of pandemic-related health products, calls for more sustainable and timely, equitable access to health-related products. Agreement aims to promote tech and knowledge transfer to recognize regional or global centers coordinated by the WHO. And a very important pathogen access and benefit sharing system has been proposed. It's a new platform which allows the swift sharing of pathogen data with pharmaceutical companies to start work quickly on pandemic fighting products. It is an attempt to smooth out the flaws exposed by COVID-19. A global supply chain and logistics network will also be set up for timely and affordable access to pandemic-related health products. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for some sporting action. Sunrisers Hyderabad rode on Abhishek Sharma's blitz to knock Lucknow Super Giants out of the IPL playoffs race with a comprehensive 6-wicket win on Monday. Lucknow posted a total of 205 for 7 after being put to bat first with half-centuries from Aidan Markram and Mitchell Marsh. However, a swashbuckling 18-ball 50 along with healthy contributions by Heinrich Klaasen, Ishan Kishan and Kamindu Mendes helped Hyderabad win with 10 balls to spare. It also draws the curtains on a disappointing campaign for Lucknow's captain Rishabh Pant, who became the most expensive player in IPL history when he was bought for 27 crore rupees in the auction. Lucknow Super Giants bowler Digvesh Singh Rathi has been fined 50% of his match fees for breaching the IPL Code of Conduct during his team's match against Sunrisers Hyderabad. Sunrisers Hyderabad batter Abhishek Sharma and spinner Digvesh Rathi were involved in a heated verbal exchange. The incident took place after Digvesh dismissed Abhishek and sent him off with his signature notebook celebration. This was Digvesh's third level 1 offence under Article 2.5 of the IPL Code of Conduct this season. Hence, he will now be suspended for LSG's next game against Gujarat Titans on Thursday. SRH batter Abhishek Sharma has been fined 25% of his match fees as well. So, Chennai Super Kings faced Rajasthan Royals in a dead rubber encounter at the Arun Jaitley Stadium today in New Delhi. A win will not do much for both the teams as they cannot qualify for the playoffs now. MS Dhoni's CSK with 6 points after 12 matches is currently at the bottom of the points table. Rajasthan Royals placed 9th, also have the same number of points ahead of their final league game. However, the performances of a few young and inexperienced players should offer a glimmer of hope going into the next season of the IPL. Indian Premier League side Mumbai Indians have signed wicketkeeper batter Johnny Bairstow as replacement for all-rounder Will Jacks for the remainder of the ongoing season. England's Bairstow was an integral part of the national side that won the ODI World Cup in 2019. Apart from him, Charith Asalanka and Richard Gleeson will replace Corbin Bosch and Ryan Rickleton, who will leave for national duties. Asalanka is currently Sri Lanka's white ball captain. Meanwhile, Gleeson has featured in 60 T20s for England and is known for his prowess in the death overs. Veteran players from various fields were felicitated during the opening ceremony of the Khelo India Beach Games in Diu. Dhyanchand Awardee shuttler Trupti Murugunde was also one of them. In an exclusive conversation with DD India's Suchitra, Trupti appreciated the government's efforts to expand the Khelo India umbrella to provide opportunities to the young and talented players.
Diu is hosting the first ever Khelo India Beach Games, and we have with us Dhyanchand Awardee Trupti Murugunde. Trupti, how do you look at the idea of developing Diu as a beach games destination, and how do you like Diu?
I think fantastic. I would say fantabulous. I think that would be a good adjective to use. And fortunately, I was here at the first edition, which was, hosted last year. And it was, they are the amazing host, I would say. Diu has always been a wonderful host, and now with collaborating with Khelo India, it brings in even more power and becomes much more stronger. The whole idea of Prime Minister, to get sports into you, whether it is, excelling in sports or it is as a fitness mode, I think it's a fantastic move.
Khelo India is basically to develop the sports at the grassroots level. What will be your message to all the participants of Khelo India Beach Games?
I would say, this is one of the best platform. We've got it. This is our Prime Minister's vision, and it has been successful, and it's been there for many years now. And it is every single time every single time we see every new Khelo India coming up. It started with Khelo India Youth Games, then we have the University Games, we have the Winter Games, Para Games, and now the Beach Games. So slowly we, as our Minister Sir also was saying, we'll have tomorrow Khelo India Tribal Games, Northeast Games. So this is what we need more and more. And to the players, the Khelo India players, I would say I think this is the platform for you. This is the best opportunity to come and show your talent. Just enjoy it, and I'm sure your success will come through.
Thank you so much for talking to us. Trupti Murugunde is elated that the umbrella of Khelo India Games is getting wider day by the day, and it's a great opportunity for the upcoming talented players of the country. With camera person Ajit, this is Suchitra reporting for DD India from Diu.
And in soccer, Tottenham Hotspur arrived in Bilbao on Monday evening ahead of playing Manchester United in the Europa League final on Wednesday. Tottenham Hotspur is hoping to win their first trophy since 2008 and end the season on a high after enduring their worst domestic campaign in nearly 50 years. With one game left, Tottenham are 17th with 21 defeats. The slate will be wiped clean for 90 minutes in northern Spain as Tottenham seek their first European silverware since they won the UEFA Cup 41 years ago. Victory would also send Tottenham back into the Champions League. The sky above Toronto was lit up in a dazzling display of colour for Victoria Day. Thousands of people flocked to the Ashbridges Bay Park in the evening, the unofficial kick-off of summer, to enjoy the city's first big fireworks show of the season. DD India's Tarun Paul Singh gets us this story from a very festive lakefront.
For hours, families and friends packed the beach and boardwalk, bundled up against a cool breeze, all waiting for the first burst of light. At 10 p.m. sharp, the sky exploded in color. For 14 minutes, fireworks danced over Lake Ontario, each boom met with delighted ooh and ah from the crowd.
First of all, thank you very much. We are a big community here. You can see all these people is like a super excited, and especially you can see the game is running out. We are coming here every day and to play in volleyball, and meanwhile to celebrate the Victoria Day. for me is something like we always, as a Canadian, we're proud to celebrate that, and with all our friends and families.
It's cold. It's great. It's cold.
The weather is so nice. We came out with the family, enjoyed the Victoria Day. The fireworks are going to be happening tonight, and I brought my camera, my drone to film it out and show it to the world. It's amazing.
We have the best country ever.
Yeah.
We love each other. We
Yeah.
love one another.
Yeah.
And this is the best place you can ever come.
That's exactly so.
Celebrating Victoria Day in Canada. I feel very great.
Yeah.
Honestly, and I want everyone to have a good time.
Yeah, everybody comes here, all different communities come here and enjoy the different weather, and
That's
look
it.
at the weather is pleasant.
This Victoria Day display is a long-standing Toronto tradition, and for many it's the joyful start for summer. Some in the crowd waved sparkles and tiny Canadian flags, and plenty of kids stayed up past bedtime with eyes glued to the sky.
How my colleagues, everyone here, we are very happy, we are enjoying the day. This Victoria Day brings us hope as Canadian, as people who are in Canada. We feel so much good and excited. We love the day. The weather has been so good, it has been so sunny, it was so warm. And you see, everyone is happy. The vibe is too much, the vibe is high. And we are having everyone on board. We are having even our brothers, our sisters, everyone is on board. Everyone is enjoying. There's too much fun, as you see.
Very important because as an international student, we do just shift college. In public holiday, we got chance to celebrate like this and get together with families, friends like this.
Yeah, it's really good because it's really different from our culture, because we couldn't celebrate this kind of culture in our back home. And this is really new, and we got a new friends from the Africa, and we are from Nepal, and we are really enjoying today, and we are having fun.
I feel excellent. Like, today's a really good day, and I had fun with my fiance and my son. And basically, like, the only thing is today is that the weather, it's really cold, but it's really amazing that people get to come out here and have fun with their family and friends.
As the last sparks faded, cheers erupted across the beach. Tens of thousands came out tonight, all heading home with smiles. Victoria Day may mark a royal birthday, but for Toronto families, it's really about moments like this, coming together under a summer night sky. From Canada, this is Tarun Singh.
So that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download our app now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.